Obviously, just winning the Big Ten helps with, like, get the best seed possible probably from like the team success over the year. But what's it like on Selection Sunday with like the whole team together?
Well, it's an amazing experience. I mean, we usually go to Carver where we play, and sometimes we'll be in the locker room and watch it on the TV. Or even one year, I think we kind of had like a crowd with us and we watched it in the
Oh
arena.
wow.
So I think this year will be in the locker room and then in the lounge area, but it's always just a fun experience to me. That anticipation of seeing who you're going to play is always exciting, no matter, what seed you're even at. So it's even more exciting after coming off the win that we just had.
Definitely. And now with the Big Ten conference, is that the best conference competition wise with how tough all the teams are?
I think right now there's about five of us in the top 25. I think the Big Ten is definitely, if not the most competitive,
Right.
like top two or three conferences for sure. There's always good teams. I mean, like you saw in the Big Ten tournament, there were upsets even on day one. So it just
Right.
shows the number of good players that are in that conference, and I'm just blessed to be able to play in it.
Overall, I think the Big Ten just has like a different like tonality with every single sport. Like you have football with Michigan, Ohio State, or like basketball with really every team like that competes. It's always new teams up there every year. Definitely a tough conference.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you even look at the men's basketball tournament right now, I mean, the 9 seed just upset the 1 seed yesterday.
Right.
So anything can happen in the Big Ten, and it's always fun to play in those games and even watch them.
Right. Take me through like the traveling process for March Madness, because obviously for four regions you travel to that whole region for the duration of the bracket besides the Final Four. How does that really work for basketball?
My freshman year was actually an amazing year, just like this year. We actually got to host. So the first and second round, we played at Iowa City. I think it was Mizzou and I forgot Mercer. We played them in the first and second round. And then we went on to North Carolina for the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight games, where we beat NC State, and then we played, I think, Baylor in the Elite Eight my freshman year. And we didn't beat them, but I mean, it was an amazing experience. And so, like, it just depends on if you're hosting or not. So again, this year, my senior year, it's awesome. It almost came full circle that we get to host again in Iowa City and play in front of all those fans. Like, I thought my senior night, was the last time that I'd be playing, but to think that I get to play in front of them again next weekend, I mean, that's going to be so surreal. And then from there, I think we either could go to Wichita, Kansas, or possibly North Carolina again. So then, I mean, the Final Four will be in Minneapolis, and that's the ultimate goal. So we'll just be working day by day, taking it one game at a time, never looking ahead, because you can't underestimate any team. Everyone's going to give you your best shot from the get-go.
Definitely. And now someone like yourself doesn't just get lucky to be where you are today. Obviously, lots of hours, hard work, discipline has gotten into where you are now. Looking at that now, what are some of like your healthiest habits that you think you have every day that you do, sort of like your process?
Well, I'm a very spiritual slash I focus on my spiritual well-being and then also my mental health. So I mean, waking up, praying every day, first of all, just thanking God for where I am, and then I'd say just making sure that I have a really healthy breakfast. I mean, we're busy with classes. I have lab for 3 hours twice a week, and then at night on another day. So making sure that I have a healthy breakfast in the morning is number one, because that fuels me for the day. And then when I'm at practice, making sure I'm fueling my body before, getting the right treatment before. And then our strength coach, she's amazing, and she makes sure that we're fueling our bodies with the right things. I mean, we're not just eating pizzas every day or burgers, so just making sure we're disciplined with what we're eating and, I mean, just feeding our bodies healthily.
Definitely. And now with food, which is like a very key aspect, I think I split it up into two main components of like a diet and like a training schedule, like lifting weights, cardio, stretching, yoga, whatever it may be. Now, going to like the physical nature, what is some what's something like you always do, like a non-negotiable for you, like on a weekly routine?
Let me think. Physical. Well, I mean, I make sure to stretch out really well. That's actually something that we incorporated into our pregame routine. Like before, we didn't have the the rollers and the stretch bands in between right before the games. We would shoot, defensive closeouts, all that. But we've incorporated that actually into our pregame routine, which I think has helped with a lot of our flexibility in the games and just injury prevention. So I'm really happy that our coach incorporated that for sure.
Right, and now specifically with like stretching and like stretching out before a game, I feel like that's kind of underrated with like in terms of especially younger athletes maybe like before
Hmm.
their high school or before high school games, just because it's I don't think it's emphasized enough. But when you get to the college level, you have all these different specialists and nutrition and strength, like you said, that I think really help out an overall college team. And I feel like if like younger kids probably are our main audience. If they were to take this and say, yeah, like if I'm not getting this from my coaches, maybe I should take it upon myself and study up on something and get into a routine now when they're younger to to like benefit them later down the road once they advance their career.
For sure, for sure. Because when you're going into a game or even a practice, you're going full speed. You're practicing how you're playing. So if you're not getting that proper stretch in right before, you could easily pull your hamstring, roll your ankle. Those 15, 20 minutes that you take to stretch before a workout, it's it's more vital than even the workout sometimes. So
Right, because I'm getting that if you can't get yourself like right before you actually do something, then you can do that thing wrong and ultimately probably increase injury, um, not get all you can out of it. Yeah, so definitely stretching and like making sure you're ready before actually doing something is very important. But
for
now
sure.
back to yourself. Growing up through high school, through college, really, because you're a senior. Who's been like one or two people that you really look up to as like a role model?
Should we say besides the parents? Because I feel like
You can say your parents or what they mean to you,
okay.
or and one other person.
Oh yeah, my parents for sure. So they immigrated from Nigeria 20 years ago or so, and they left their whole new life. They
Hmm.
built a whole new life here in the United States, and they're so successful now. And just thinking about all the drive, the motivation that they had to leave a whole another continent. Start over from scratch and still be successful. It just shows, just the drive and the diligence that they have in them. And I think that they've done a good job of instilling that in me as I've come to college. I faced adversity. As everyone has, but I think that it's just been an easier transition with parents like that. And then I'd say for sure, like just all the coaches that have coached me, my high school coach for one, and then my coaches here at Iowa. They've just helped me develop into the woman that I am today. Having an all-woman coaching staff is also awesome too because it's like having moms, away from home. But my high school coach at Carmel High School, Coach Wimblin, he was just awesome and vital in my whole recruiting process and just making me the player I am today as well.
Right, and now through your recruiting process, was it without like was there ever a doubt about Iowa, or were there other teams out there that really wanted you and you almost went somewhere else?
Yeah, I was so. Let me think. It was like my freshman year of high school that I was like, oh, basketball could really be something more than just, a huge passion of mine. You take your official visit senior year, and I think I took three of them out of five. And I kind of was later with picking where I wanted to go, but right when I landed on Iowa's campus, I was like, wow, like this place, just the people are so genuine. There's no professional team for one. So you
Right.
see the college athletes, the fans treat you like, you're like royalty or something. It's just so cute. Seeing the interactions between the players and the fans, and then even people like in the grocery stores that'll come up to you, and just the genuinity in that campus is just amazing. And then I'd also attribute like my passion for basketball to my brother. He introduced basketball to our whole family. Like basketball's not huge in Nigeria, growing up, it's more like soccer and other sports. And
Right.
he played basketball growing up too. And he's just been so vital to my success as well. Like all those hours in the gym with him in different community centers. I look up to him so much. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I got a lot out of that from where you say now Iowa is like sort of like a small town area with no professional team. I feel like that's really not a rare situation, but a different situation than most
Hmm.
big markets. So when you
Yeah.
say like people come up to you at the grocery store and say, "Hey, what's up?" Iowa athletes are like probably role models to a lot of people, a lot of younger people that don't have say like a local NBA or WNBA team, So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And I just like really am getting to realize that now how the colleges are like the highest level of athletics there. So the players probably mean so much more to the community.
For sure, yeah. It was a big selling point for me because some of the other schools, I mean, they're in big cities like Penn and Philadelphia, or even like, I don't know, just other schools that have bigger cities. So you're gonna have that professional team there. So I love Iowa.
Definitely. And now one of the last things we always ask to all of our athletes here, if you had any advice to any athletes, like younger athletes, high school kids that might be going through a tough time, what would you say to them, and how would you go about giving them some sort of advice?
Well, I would say never underestimate yourself, number one. I mean, I feel like some people look at their current situation and then they think it'll never change. I mean, you don't know how your life's going to pan out. You don't know how the next month is going to pan out. I just say always keep fighting for what you want. Like, whatever you want, go get it. I mean, sky is the limit. We're all capable of doing things that we don't think we're even capable of doing. So I just say keep working and you'll get there.
Yeah, and I feel like keep on going and like really shoot for what you want to do in life, not just settle for something, is one of the big standpoints and mantras that Athletic Minds really stands on, and like really pushes that message heavily, because
Sure.
like yourself, getting to college, like to be a college athlete, I'm sure that was a really big goal for you once you realized what it can become, and that didn't just happen. You probably obviously worked for something and you got it. So I feel like that's definitely out there for everybody, that they can really go out there and get what they want to get. So yeah,
sure.
that's really powerful, I think, especially from an athlete like yourself.
Thank you.
We want to thank Tomi for coming on with us. It was really cool to see what she has to say. With the tournament coming up, definitely be looking forward to see where Iowa lands, and keep my eye on.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course.